Welcome to the Popish plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
Today is another edition of a new book club. This time we are reading Why We're Catholic. And down below, hopefully we will be connected with the playlist for this episode and everyone else who's doing this book club. This book club is brought to you by What Laura Likes, so I'll also make sure I have a link down in the description for that. So...
I don't have a book because Jess and I are sharing the same book.
The
You have this
two
book.
shall become one flesh. I think that implies shared libraries.
It does. I mean,
it seems
in
a
most
bit
cases.
redundant to have two of the same book to read at the same time.
Mm-hmm. It's mostly because I don't live here, so it's helpful that I have a separate book.
Yes.
Yes, also, you were going to tell us a fun story about how you got the book, so you might as well.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. So, I very much enjoyed part one of Why We're Catholic, but what I've chosen to talk about today is how I acquired this book. It was a gift given to me this past summer at Faith Fest by a man who identified himself as being not from our own Diocese of Lansing, but having traveled from the Archdiocese of Detroit.
Well, there was a lot of people from other dioceses.
Absolutely, because it's a great event. So, as Nate can attest, I am very loud during Mass.
Very.
Oh, I wouldn't say loud. Just
Noticeable?
yes. Your voice tends to make its presence known.
It's only really noticeable when you say a different word for a prayer than everyone else. Like when everyone else is saying we and you say I, and I'm like, all right, now we gotta say the prayer this way.
Well, when we're doing the liturgy of the Eucharist, and we get to the spot where at the beginning where the priest says a prayer and everybody says Amen. Not the great Amen, just the regular Amen.
All my amens are great.
I can always tell
I
if
don't think most of them last for like 2 minutes.
I can always tell if Mike is present at church because I can hear his voice among all the others people saying Amen all at once.
Yeah, I've heard him over the priest when the mics weren't working right.
Fair enough.
But the mic was working right.
Yes.
Anyway,
So this guy heard me being quite loud at the outdoor Mass we had, and afterwards he said, "Here you go," and gave me this book. Now, given that I'm already so actively participating in the Mass, it seems odd that I need a book, Why We're Catholic, but he gave it to me with the explicit instruction that I pass it along to someone else after I'd read it. And yet, lo, these many months, being up to my eyeballs in other books to read, I had not touched Why We're Catholic until this collaboration came along. So, I will be eternally grateful for the motivation to get me finally to read this book so that I can then gift it to one of my many friends who is not yet in full communion with the church that Christ founded.
so for all those of you out there who know Mike and may not be entirely, as he puts it, in communion with the Church Catholic, this book may someday be a possession of yours.
So, what did you like about the book?
Well,
The first section of the book, as we are doing it by sections.
yes, we were. This episode is being done on the first section of the book, which is part 1, Truth in God. And
One of five.
One of
Yes.
5. So you'll see 4 more of these episodes before we're done.
I believe we're posting every Monday.
Yes. Now, for those who don't know me, I'm a head Catholic. I'm not really a heart Catholic. I'm not one of those people who came to the Catholic Church because it felt like the thing I had to do. I came to the Catholic Church because I had spent a great deal of time researching it.
What Nate's trying to tell us all is that he's heartless.
Sometimes, yes. But as I was saying, the reason I came to the church was because I had spent a great deal of time actually looking into all the things about the Catholic Church, and I did not choose to join because I felt it was the right thing to do. I chose to join because I knew it was where I was supposed to be. And so the thing about part 1 that I really enjoyed was the fact that in dealing with believing in God, and all the chapters on that subject, Trent really gets Thomistic in it. You know, he works from, I can't remember exactly which one, but he works from a couple of different of the ways in which Thomas Aquinas had reasoned that God exists. I believe one of them might be the first or the second way. I'm not a good Thomist yet, so...
I'm an even worse Thomas than him, so... Yeah.
I didn't bother looking up his ways ahead of time. I figured you'd largely point out how it goes through the step-by-step of, the logic and reason behind having faith in any God.
Yes. Well, and that's really it. I mean,
the possibility of a God.
He works through it in a very methodical approach. First, he deals with whether or not there is objective truth,
which there is.
And anybody who says there's not is either foolish or they're
contradicting themselves.
Yeah.
Yes, I do like the way that he pointed out that, stating there is no objective truth is an objective truth.
Nevertheless, we must be mindful of the time limit.
Yes.
So, any other thoughts on the first part?
No, that was about it. It was a very methodical and well thought out approach to proving the existence of God and truth. And next, I believe we are going, and then where we go from there.
Mm-hmm. Next Monday, we'll be bringing you part 2, Jesus and the Bible.
Woo! Sorry for that noise earlier. That was my phone. I forgot to silence it.
No, Nate is in fact the latest incarnation of the Doctor, and that was just his sonic screwdriver.
That's fair.
So everything is open unless it's wooden?
Everything in this house is open unless it's wooden.
Jess, what are your thoughts?
Well, as it did go a lot into philosophy, it also had to go into how science cannot prove or disprove God. Again, using logical arguments and not science, because science only deals with things that are in the created universe and therefore cannot prove anything outside of the created universe.
Science is great at determining the nature of things natural, but it really is terrible at things that are supernatural.
Yes, and historically, whenever they've tried to prove it, you've got some crazy things that everyone looks back and goes, boy, they were really, really off.
What were we thinking?
Exactly. But I do like that he not only points out how, scientism doesn't work, he also is for science itself, as it's useful for what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
And he deals with the number one issue that whenever you discuss science and religion you get, of Galileo. Pointing out the fact that Galileo got in trouble because, one, he was a giant jerk to the Pope and wrote a long piece where basically he spent the whole time calling the Pope an idiot. And two, as one of the quotes that come up in Galileo is one of the actual cardinals who basically told him, if you can scientifically prove you're right, you're free to go.
But of course, because Galileo's model of the solar system required perfectly circular orbits,
yes,
which don't exist.
It was a good basic idea, but his details were deeply flawed and proven to be completely incorrect scientifically.
In short, he had no scientific evidence for his theories.
Yes.
And while everybody goes on about how the church persecuted him and locked him in jail, the church told him they couldn't leave his house, gave him a servant to attend to his needs, and all because they had simply gone and said, look, this isn't entirely fleshed out yet, we'd prefer you didn't go and publish it. And he said, yeah, no, I'm going to do that anyways.
I'm going to publish it, and I'm going to say anyone who disagrees with me, like the Pope, is an idiot.
What a jerk!
Yeah.
So rather than being a huge kerfuffle, it was really just a difference of opinion.
And those who continue to try to beat the church over the head with Galileo ignore the many, many scientific contributions the church made before, during, and since the Galileo affair.
Mm-hmm. So, go down below, comment whether or not you've read the book, if you have any thoughts you might have, or if you haven't, I don't know. I've never read that, but that sounds interesting. It's always welcome.
If you're a believer, what are your reasons for belief? If you're a non-believer, what are your reasons for non-belief?
Yeah.
Yes, part of the video for the starting of the book club collaboration stated that, if you're not a YouTuber, you can go in the discussion down below in the comments and, we can have a conversation there. If you're reading along, if you're like, well, this brought up this question, what do you think about that? Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's get a dialogue going.
Yeah.
And make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you'll be notified when we have new episodes coming out, like the second part of this book report, or book club, which will be coming out in a week.
Yep. Or this week is going to be a busy week.
Yep. We've
got something tomorrow. We got something Wednesday.
And until next time, remember, live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.